Hey guys, today on the Flint Film Foundation Podcast, we have our first musical guest. Welcome, Mama Soul and Jean.
Yeah. See, I elevated my vibe. I'm sure you feel that yourself. I'm letting finance finally balance my spiritual wealth. My belt's bigger than the circle of folk I feel I can vent to. Got issues with trust if I don't feel like God sent you. My pencil's essential. I vent there, repent too. Seek intelligence so intense it feels artificial. Plant my seeds and reproduce petals. Yes, I'm a pistol. Beautiful, florist. My aura's got enormous portions of gorgeous reflections of ancestors I reference. For guidance, scriptures that described us on papyrus are priceless. All the gems and jewels that sit inside us. It's sad that grief is when we take a brief moment of silence. The mind requires quiet time, that's when it starts to heal. You have to use your heart, not just your hands, to actually feel. I'm authoring or offering, I hope you hear is holy. Only interpret perfect tense from those that came before me. I'm offspring of kings, queens, they put in the back row. And balcony, to come or go, they had to use the back door. Alchemy of timeless art that remedies our woes. Why entertain away the cons when we can all be pros? But in truth, I gives a damn if you approve my moves. I'll tell you, kiss my ass, I work for ancestors, not you. I love peace and quiet, but I appreciate sound advice. Put emphasis on instruments of love that give me life. Life is meant to be more an experience of joy to me. There is no in between. You either make music or noise. Silence cannot be enhanced by sounds that pull you down. It's hard to spot the kings cause we keep putting crowns on clowns. I keep grounding, not grinding, till I'm in full alignment and fully comprehend my path and master my assignment. The gods and goddess gave me for I came to this environment. Cause every step and every breath's divinely guided. I'm on God's time. Moving on God's time. Yeah, God's time. Yeah. Flint Film Foundation Podcast. I'm almost certain me and Jean are the first entertainers to be on this podcast. So give thanks, man. We appreciate them having us. Man, just being from Flint, Michigan, and finding your tribe and going out into the world, you find your family. And me and Cory been working together for so long. And when we first met and started working together, it was like we both just had a dream and goals. And Cory came to me like, man, I just want to start documenting everything you do. Cory, if something ever happened to me, Cory's gonna put the best documentary on my life out because he's been there through all the phases, my son growing up and everything. And, it's a full circle moment I like to talk about when it comes to me and Cory and all that we went through. And then I moved to Atlanta during water crisis, came back years later, and I got hired to do a commercial for the Detroit Pistons. And I wrote this ad for them. And when I went to the Pistons Performance Center to shoot it, I was walking down the hallway and I heard somebody say, like, I wonder why they hired her, right? I'm like, who the hell? And I turned around and it's Cory laughing, smiling ear to ear. And it was just like a full circle moment for us just to, know that we came from Flint and that we created something that was first a thought, and to just understand the power of positive thought and understand that you are what you attract. And so when you attract people like Cory into your life, you must be doing something right. So give thanks. And very just grateful for the people that, my tribe, So, yeah. Let's do something else. You do something else? Start?
Go ahead.
Let's start. All right. I heard the rain was in the forecast. It's cool, though. That means that something's bound to grow. To me, simple is better than the complex. Don't say much. Let's keep this on a need-to-know basis. Let's get back to the basics. In the basement, play beats and I'll freestyle the flow. Let's go out in the snow and make an angel say a prayer. Pretend our wings are real for real, cause we are fly as hell. But no Jim Crow. Watch this blackbird fly and hover over the hood, gathering up my flock. Pissing on the police and keep my feathers dry. Their arms are way too short to try to box with gods. I guess that's why they draw arms and point in our direction. We're as close them devils get to seeing God's reflection. If only we knew we were those and that we were the chosen. Yeah. But now the rain is pouring down, but other things are rising. Remember now, behind the cloud, the sun is always hiding. Patience been a pimp. It can shape a moja to a soldier or a sucker. Have you living off a loaf of peanut butter and some Smuckers when you shuck and you jive? Jammed about a 9 to 5 to suck and you dry. Zapping the superpowers you never identified. Pedal plucking for love and you find it hard to decide. When the side chicken thought about the actual thing, it's hard to visualize the dream we learned from Doc King. Our queens hit the club and shake it all about. Like the hokey pokey really is what it's about. Striking the Malcolm pose, trigger finger on brow. How did they convince us to drink milk from a cow? And now we lactose intolerant, we battle in beef. But if we lactose, we bound to get shut down in these streets. Lord, it feels like I'm falling off a ledge. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Land of the walking dead. Let's rise up and live instead. The rain has to fall for. In order for us to grow more abundantly, let the rain pour. Yeah. Pretty good, my brother.
Wasn't that incredible? If you want to see more performances like that, please consider giving to the Flint Creators Fund by visiting our website at flintfilmfoundation.org or click on the description below. You are watching the Flint Film Foundation Podcast, hosted by Flint, Michigan Films, created inside the Dort Mall. The Flint Film Foundation is a local nonprofit focused on creating community impact through film, television, and social content with an emphasis on education and community storytelling. If you'd like to learn more, please visit flintfilmfoundation.org. That was so good. I loved it.
Thank you.
You and Gene, of course. We can't forget Gene. Can't forget Gene. I love it. That was the first entertainment show that we had here at our studio.
Yeah, it was our first one. Thank you for blessing us. It's such a
Thank you for
privilege and honor. We've been rocking for a long time. So it's so crazy to see like how far we're both coming. And yeah, that was your first time seeing Mama Soul live, wasn't it?
Well, I seen her at Porch Fest.
Oh, yeah.
2 years ago. You did Porch Fest, right?
Yep.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yep.
But I didn't know that story about you guys at the Pistons game either,
Yeah,
so that was
great.
real cool.
Yeah, right.
That was a long time ago.
It was like 23.
Yeah.
It was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I
was
remember
it?
like, yeah,
23.
just Dave St. George called me. He's like, hey, I got this thing for the Pistons. And I came in and all of a sudden I was like, I know that music. Oh, they're playing Soul's music. And then all of a sudden I see her. I was like, who the hell let you in here?
Who chose you? I'm like,
But no, it was a great time. It was a great piece. It was really nice just to see, Soul being
they
like
won
honored.
a lot of awards for that commercial.
It was really, really great.
That's cool.
It was phenomenal. And they were playing it when they were playing in the actual dome too. A lot of the stuff,
at
right?
the Palace.
Yeah.
They played it every game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I played. Going those. I always remember when we did the Detroit Lions one, and like it was just supposed to be like for their new uniform unveil. They played that the whole year, every single thing. I was like, oh, that's cool. That was really nice.
That's cool.
But Soul. I gotta ask. So, like, how did Mama Soul become a thing? I know that's a long-winded question, but like, how'd you start just getting into rapping? Did you have a name before you landed on Mama Soul, or?
Nah, well, my grandmother, everybody called my grandmother Old Soul.
Okay.
And I was a lot like my grandmother. We were really, really close. And so, like, I was kind of like young Soul. I was little Soul. And then, Soul made sense because it's sun in Spanish, and I'm a Leo, and the sun is my ruling planet. And it just started making so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
Soul felt right. And then Mama Soul came from me. I was Soul Child at first.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Music Soul Child, I has to spell his name with a Y. I'm almost certain because I registered my stuff for ASCAP and all that stuff a long time ago. And I taught at an African-centered school in Detroit. And when you teach at an African-centered school, all the teachers are addressed as Mama and Baba, not as Mr. and Mrs. And so that the kids call me Mama Soul. And so when I quit my job to go back to writing and doing music and stuff full time, like my students cried. Now I promised them, I said, I'm gonna keep the name you gave me because you helped me heal. And I'm gonna take that name into the world so that you know that you are a part of who I become and what I've become up to this point. And you were instrumental in me moving back out into the world in the manner that I do out of respect for you. And so that's why, like, now I don't make a lot of party songs. I'm really, really conscious about the content of my songs because it's attached to something that's much deeper than just a name.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first moved back to Flint long time ago, and I was like searching for, because like in Albuquerque they had like a lot of like old school hip hop, and like I wasn't finding the vibe here. And then somebody gave me your CD, and it was back when it was Mama Soul and the Nuts, and I just was like, whoa. And even from there to watch you go to where you were at now, kind of thing, you know what I mean? So but yeah, to watch you go from Mama Soul and the Nuts and then just to branching out on your own, I've seen the progression, and I feel like every time you get deeper and deeper. Like, talk to me about like the evolution of your music.
Well, you know what? The music evolves as I evolve as a human, really. Because I used to make party songs and like songs just to get on and get heard. And then I realized, like, nah, my gift is God intended for this. So just do if you felt like, that's why in the piece I said I'm authoring or offering, I hope you hear is holy. And I only interpret perfect tens from those that came before me, because I'm responsible with my craft, because one, like I said, I'm committed to the kids that gave me the name during my healing and reminded me why I do this in the first place. And see, when I quit, I was pregnant with my son. Then as a mom, and a mom that wanted to make sure I was there for my son, make sure, I wanted to make sure everything I did, if something happened to me, it could still be a means of communication for me and him. So I don't want to write things where he goes back and listens to it like, my mama's on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like party and drop it low. That's not who I am, and I don't want you to look for that in a woman. And I'm going to be the first example of a real woman for my son. And I wanted him to be able to go with me when I went to perform and to do stuff. And for my mom to be able to come and see me perform. So I didn't want to do the nightclub type performance. And so younger, I was in Columbus, Ohio, and Foley. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Foley. Foley played with Prince, George Clinton, Miles Davis. Foley took me under his wing, and Foley would take me into places I didn't even have any business in and put me on stage with a live band. So I learned how to really hone in on my craft to a live band. I never rapped analog until, it never felt right to me, because I learned how to really do what I do to a live band, to live music. And so I always knew I needed a band to pull it off how I wanted it to feel. I didn't, and so the natural element of the drums and everything, I needed that real feeling where I could say stop or pause or break it down, like, because it's more of it's a flow, right? And so, so I got a band. And then as I evolved and my message became more refined, I realized that, everybody's not on the same page as me. And it was a tough breakup for me in the band at a point. We on a better page now, me and some of the guys, because we can go. I mean, this is a broad question because all things in divine order. I say that all the time, and it's just like I never knew that I was gonna hone in only on the Mama Soul brand itself.
Yeah,
I always expected to have my band with me.
Yeah.
And it was hard, It's still hard sometimes, just because I miss the camaraderie of a crew, of a group of people sitting brainstorming shows together and creating ideas together. And so now I do a lot of that alone. And when I'm by myself, I'm not lonely.
Right.
Some people are really lonely when they're alone. But I just miss the camaraderie of the creation process.
Yeah.
But I'm in a good place. I started understanding how I want to retire from this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made me really start saying, okay, let's get back to, because I got started writing for FUBU, the clothing line. I was writing commercials from the jump. And so once the Pistons picked me up, and then Carhartt and Shaw Commercial Flooring Company, and, you know, I work with some big brands, Planned Parenthood, I realized that the speaking and the motivational speaking and just the branding with other brands was like a more lucrative approach to this for me.
Yeah. Well, I think you get to reach more people and like different ways too. So now you've got the music. Some people don't listen to music. So like the speaking engagements, and I think, you know, it's a way for you to, we've talked about this sometimes, like people don't hear what you're saying all the time.
Yes.
So that's why, you know, a lot of times you'll put the words in it so people like fully understand. So I think to be able to talk in less poetry and more, you know, straight on, sure helps get your message out there again too.
Yeah, and less is more for me. I also realize that, like, I don't need a 5-piece band to get across what I'm doing. I'm actually saying something.
Yeah.
You know, and it took a bug. My bass player, Antoine Kirkland, Twine told me, he was like, I'm going to be honest, so sometimes I think we are overpowering what you say. And I don't think you need so many musicians, you know? Because when you drop everybody and say, hold on, and you do a cappella stuff, people start crying, and it's, you know, that's a moment. He said those moments just need a little bit of something under it to paint the picture a little, you know, a little bit. And so less is more for me now.
You get a Gene.
Yep. Me and Gene, and then we had Cory a lot of times on keys, and it's just really just the three of us.
Yeah. I mean, it's sometimes, less is more. And I mean, honestly, like, I mean, we did one thing with just you and Famadou, and he just had.
Djembe, yep. And Famadou goes to schools with me sometime when I speak at a lot of schools and universities. But sometime when I go do like middle schools, because I don't do elementary school, I'm kind of over their head. I don't do the fluff, like sing along stuff. So I'm like middle school, high school, and then staff developments. And so the middle schools, a lot of times I take Famadou and he'll like do the drum, and then they'll repeat it and stuff like that. But I tell you, I still rock with Famadou on the djembe.
So both of you are from Flint. I am not. So born and raised in Flint?
Absolutely.
So how has Flint helped shape who Mama Soul is today?
I embody Flint, you know, every phase of it. Flint, see, the Flint now is not the Flint I grew up in. You know, like I grew up in a time where Flint was flourishing. And so downtown was live. I remember my aunts. You know, my mom has 7 sisters. You know, it's 10 of them. Wow. So my aunts would like take us downtown. We go to Burger King and to the department stores, and you know, the Dale's, get some caramel corn and walk. You know, and it was live. 4th of July, you know, it'd be so many people downtown. It was unreal, you know, skating rinks and the rival games growing up. You know, I was an athlete. I played soccer and basketball. I had as many scholarship offers in soccer as I did basketball. Division I scholarship. I ended up taking a basketball scholarship because I wanted to be indoors at this point. You
Smart.
Yeah, I was just tired of being outside in the rain. And, you know, now you're getting older. You think you're cute. You don't mess your hair up and stuff. You know, it's like, I don't want to be outside. And so I took a basketball scholarship. But, you know, Flint, you know, I understood competition and how to be in a space where it's a lot of unique individuals and still stand out, but be myself. And that's always, I was always comfortable with me. I never really wanted to fit into anything. Even as a little kid, like I've always been a real big on energy. I would, you know, and you can ask like Mike Ramsdale and people that have been knowing me a long time. They like, man, she always kind of did her own thing. And then people would come over there and want to do that. Like I never really wanted to fit in. I never felt like this was the planet for me, period. Like even as a kid, from seeing auras and energy to having hallucinations at a real young age and stuff, I always felt like I was an extraterrestrial or something on this planet. I never felt real comfortable with the planet, so I never needed a lot of people.
Okay.
Interesting.
Ramsdale. Why does Ramsdale keep coming up all the time?
Yeah,
Everybody knows him, right?
It's all,
Mike.
Mike.
Mike's the guy. I mean, that's the thing. It's like when you're that, around Flint and just
Everybody
good
knows
people,
everybody.
You know what I mean?
Yes, that's why and see, that's one thing that Flint taught me is to treat every person like you'll see him again.
Yeah.
And I took that into the world with me. I always treat people really, really kind. If you can't be kind, be careful. That's what my dad always told me. And if you can't be careful, you better be kind. And so, when I go into the world, I just treat people like I know I'll see them again. And that's from growing up in Flint. Like, you watch what you say, mind your manners and your mouth, because what you put out there is definitely gonna come back in a small town.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back. And so I saw the good and bad of Flint.
Yeah.
I saw it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was involved in it all.
Yes.
Thank God I survived.
How did that happen? Like, were you aware enough to just like, did it slowly start happening, or was it like the factory shut down and then just changed? Like, how did you watch like Flint change, go down a little bit?
Yeah, the jobs definitely changed, and the water crisis also changed a lot. A lot of people moved during and after the water crisis. A lot of people moved, and before that, even with the shops and the crack epidemic and all of that happened, and then Flint being the most dangerous city in the world and all of that whole jargon that was a big thing for a minute. It forced a lot of people out, and so population is everything. How many people you have in a small space. The power is in the people, and it's power in numbers. And so, I watched it change. It kind of gradually changed, but it's hard to even really put your finger on it like, oh, it changed this time. But it kind of just gradually changed. You started seeing the high schools close, and that's what kind of started affecting me.
Yeah.
Was like, like one of the main things growing up in Flint was rival games. Northern, Northwestern, Southwestern, and Central. Like Hamady, Grand Blanc, Carmen, they weren't a factor to us. Like, seriously, and no pun intended, but growing up, you were concerned about playing Northern, Northwestern, Central, or Southwestern. The other schools was like outside schools. They weren't Flint schools to us. Because when you grow up and we walked a lot as kids and rode bikes, so we weren't riding our bike all the way to Grand Blanc to go hang out with them kids. We riding in the Southwestern neighborhood, Northern, you know what I'm saying? We stayed in our own proximity. And so those schools were they were the outsiders, So when I started watching the big games be Carmen and Beecher, I'm like, what? Like, this is the game? Hamady and I'm like, dang, like all the main schools started closing. And that was the main thing that saw me. That's where I was like, oh, it's different.
Yeah. I remember we scrimmaged Northern at Atwood for football. I remember that one. It was like I only played like one season of football.
Who'd you play for?
Central.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a tight end, and he threw me in there, and just like being in Atwood and like just like, oh, this is real.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, people would come.
Oh, it would be packed.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, like you knew what you were wearing. Like you look forward to that. Like the prep assemblies, everything. I was an athlete, so I played too. And so that was like
your world.
Yeah, yes. And then I grew up going to the games. You have to realize we had the Eric Turners and the Marty Embreys, these people that, the T Greens that went off to play at Michigan and DePaul and, big schools and some to go to the NBA, Glenn Rice, all them players play right here in Flint, and so it's always been a certain culture around sports in Flint.
Yeah.
For it to be a small town, we sent a lot of people to the pros.
Yeah. We had that so I grew up closer to Detroit and Farmington, and that was football was our thing. Drew Stanton and Nageem Shabai, we all graduated with them, and it was kind of fun to watch it. So I totally get that vibe. I didn't go to all the games though.
Yeah.
I wasn't that girl.
Well, you guys, you guys had so much area. Don't get me wrong, like Flint is big, but yeah, like, I remember walking to the west side to the east side from the west side, or, riding bikes when you could, if you had a bike. But yeah, it was just, I remember being kind of everywhere, you know what I mean? And then you got a car and you were just like, oh, it's like 2 minutes down the road. You know what I mean? And then everyone's...
Dang, I thought that was a long way.
And everyone's like, you want to go to Davidson? I'm like, I ain't going that far.
Yeah, right.
It's 13 minutes away. Are you crazy? I'm not driving that far. But yeah, so you talked a little bit about you went to school for healing. What is, you know, like to heal when you went and taught down in the African American school down south? Like, what do you mean from that?
That was in Detroit.
Detroit, that's what I meant.
Detroit,
yeah.
on the east side. Well, I was, you gotta realize I was in Columbus, Ohio. I had graduated from college and I went to Columbus. My father was getting out of prison at the time, and he had these connections in prison with this guy that had a chemical company, and he was like, yo, you should come down here. I got this chemical company. I'm gonna need some help, whatever. So me and a buddy of mine moved to Columbus, and while I was there, I started rapping, of course, with a group down there. I was in a group called the Golden Dynasty, and then the Renaissance. And a good friend of mine, Rashad had just released some music, actually real dope artist out of Columbus. Rashad had done some work with a group out of Cincinnati called Mood, and they were with High Tech. So we all started doing a lot of stuff together. So it was a whole culture of hip hop in Columbus that I worked with. And I had taken a liking to FUBU's brand, and I wrote them a commercial. And I was talking to Rashad one day, and he put a beat behind the commercial for me, and I recorded it on a cassette tape. And then my friend Dante from Mood was like, yo, we just met their director of media and promotions when we did blah, 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 blah. Her name's Leslie Short. We'll give you her number. I said, man, I just want to mail them my commercial. So I sent it to FUBU, and it took months, man. I don't even remember. I think I had came back to Flint, was doing something, and my roommate at the time, Realm called me. He was in a group with me. He was like, yo, so Chizzy. I'm like, what's up? He like, man, Damon John from FUBU called you. And I'm like, yeah, right. And I thought, because he plays a lot, and cause it had been some months. He was like, no, listen to the voicemail or whatever. So played it back on the recording. And so I ended up going to New York working with FUBU. And so while I was working with FUBU, I was a hustler also, right? And so that was something that was just in me. I've always sold everything from snow cones to whatever, airbrushing jeans for people or, to crack. But, it's something you find your way in an environment. My father was a drug kingpin, and a lot of people do know that. And I was in New York, and, you go to celebrity events and people ask you if you got some coke, and I'm like, no, I ain't no coke, but I had some next week. You know what I'm saying? And so I started kind of hustling and stuff, and then I was grazed with a bullet in my chest. And nobody was trying to shoot me or anything of that nature, but I was kind of hanging with the wrong people now that I'm back messing around with a little bit of drugs, right? And so that just you are what you attract, and so when I was grazed with that bullet, it was a real flesh wound. It was like, thank God. So it was almost like the ancestors, like, look, I put you in this great position to work with this company. They made $300 million a year. You started writing for them. You don't see the blessings? And I always knew I had a real deep spiritual side of me. And I knew it wasn't a religious thing, but it was something between me and this universe. And some sort of God or goddess energy that I knew was around me all the time as a kid, right? And so, long story short, I ended up coming back home to Flint. My mom wanted me to get the scar tissue kind of looked at, like just in case it wasn't a lump in my breast or something like that. So I called. I was going back to New York. This was after Christmas, New Year, so I was here for some time. And I called and let them know I was going to be kind of late coming back. And because we were working on a project at the time, and FUBU was starting a record label at the time. They ended up signing Drunken Master. They did 50 Players Deep stuff. I was like, I'm the one who told me I should start a record label. But anyway, so I never went back. I just stayed in Flint. I ended up finding I had breast cancer.
Wow.
From the biopsy. And so, I'm thinking it's like some scar tissue or something, and I'm like, and my mother was like, what's wrong with you? So she made me go get it checked out. I got a biopsy, found out I had breast cancer. I was the youngest youngest patient my doctors ever had.
How old were you at the time?
How old was I?
Yeah, at the time.
Man, I was 23.
Okay, young.
So, I saw that as a sign that the ancestors needed me to help heal other people and make other people take certain things more serious. So during my healing, of course, leaving New York City and Columbus, Ohio, you come back to Flint and you've been kind of getting to your goals. It's like, damn, I'm here, And I didn't have health insurance. I was an independent contracted artist when I was working with FUBU and doing all this stuff. So I had to spend a lot of money and to save my life. And then ended up getting Medicaid and all that stuff. So it was tough. And I ended up moving to Detroit, Michigan. My friends Kareem and Lisa, they had a newborn. And they were like, just take care of him for us while we work and you good. Come down here. So I moved to Southfield. Took care of my godson, taught him potty training, taught him his everything. He's like my son. Me and him are still tight to this day. And so when he started preschool, I cried. I'm like, dang, what am I gonna do? A friend of mine, Vivian, she was moving to New York, and she was teaching at Timbuktu, and she came over and she was like, yo, I think I got the perfect job for you. So I interviewed, and I ended up becoming the reading specialist at Timbuktu Academy of Science and Technology, the African Center School on the east side of Detroit. My job changed from reading specialist to lead teacher within the next year, and then to director of special education and lead teacher. So I did that for 7 years. Wow. During that time is when I really got an opportunity to just heal. Because now I am able to make some money. I'm doing something with some direction and purpose. My direct supervisor was an ex-Panther, you know what I'm saying? So I was engulfed in the culture in a way that is very rare for most people. The owner of the school lived in Ghana, had a school in Ghana also. A lot of the teachers there were from Senegal and Gambia and, Nigeria. A lot of the teachers were. So there was a mama and a baba in every classroom. If the teacher was a mama, the parapro was a baba, or if the teacher was a baba. So the kids there had a mother and a father in each room because most of them came from single-parent households. So it was in that space that I felt like I healed. These kids helped me heal. They gave me direction and purpose and took the focus off me, and I put it on them. And when I started channeling that healing energy for them, I just automatically had to get down with what I was delivering. And so that's why I say these kids helped me heal. And I owed it to them from my gift to use my gift now to make sure I'm encouraging kids to be better, do better, see better, be the example, to love them. There's not a kid I'm afraid of. I don't care how tough they are or how tough they appear to be, you still a kid. Yeah. And it's a reason why you had to be that tough. And that's what I'm going to connect with you, because you shouldn't have had to be that tough. Your childhood was stolen from you to me when kids are forced to be real tough and grown too early. And I feel sorry for kids. A lot of people are afraid of those kids. I'm not scared of any kid. I don't care what they've done. Let me get some time with them, and I can connect with them.
Yeah,
so
it is
kids
divine,
help me
and
heal.
now
They help me heal.
So you went to teaching, and then you left to go do your art, and then you end up to still speaking with kids all over the place.
Yeah.
So you get to use all your gifts.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
That's
but
cool.
my background, I graduated from Eastern Michigan with a degree in psychology with an emphasis on early childhood development.
Okay.
So I was already wanting to understand the psyche of children.
Yeah.
Because I went through a lot as a kid, you know what I'm saying, with Beauty and the Beast. I write about my upbringing. And I was talking to my homeboy the other day who's in prison. And he was like, yeah, you gumbo for sure. He always calls me gumbo because he man, there's so much in your mom and your dad that's in you that they don't even understand, man. Your father was a pimp and a drug kingpin, and your mother is like a saint and a choir director, and you know what I'm saying, had a big family, and her mother and sisters and sometimes cousins and uncles always lived with us in a 2-bedroom house, but there was so much love in that house that you didn't know you were eating government cheese, and you didn't know you were struggling because the love made you feel rich.
Yeah. So
that gave me a perspective on love and understanding what it meant to be loved. Kids need love. Yeah. You know how a child spells love is Time.
Yep.
you got to give them time and be consistent with them. And so then I'm with my dad, you know, sometime in summer, and there's cocaine on every table, and there's men and women coming and going, and he in the bed with 4 women, and, you know, 4 women live in the house, and they all okay with it, and all sleep in the same bed, and everybody is just, it's, you know, but ain't no love. All the love is fake, because it's all about money and getting high, you know. So you watch people just like, dang, yeah, it was all good just a week ago type energy here and then over here. So I saw, you know, a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just, it helped me form who I am. Like, I'm not no pushover, you know, by no stretch of the imagination. I fought a lot, you know what I'm saying? I was always in trouble, but I'm a Leo also, so I'm a fire. I'm just, you know, but I'm a tame flame at this point. I understand myself better than what I ever have before, and it just takes time. Yeah. You know.
Where do you say, I mean, you've obviously seen a lot, like you were saying. Is that where your inspiration for music comes from? Like, what inspires you the most with your writing?
Right now, I mean, and it changes.
Yeah, I guess it would change,
Yeah,
right?
It changes. Right now, I think the greatest inspiration is the fact that I don't need music to make money.
That's amazing.
I write different music now. Okay. See, when it was like, man, we got to put these records out, we got to put another album out, I got to get this done, I got to, you know, you write different. And Quincy Jones made a statement that has always resonated with me. And he said, when you make music for money, God leaves the room. And now that I don't need music to make money, I make much better music, because now I'm writing the songs I think the world needs. Love and that. Songs that I need. You know, like a lot of the records I write, it's what I'm feeling at the time. You know, I realize that I'm not lucky, I'm aligned. Even in the darkness, I'm a shine, and I'm going to be damned if I'm going to let you dim this little light of mine. The biggest lie that you've been told is you got time. You know, so I'm writing to myself, you know. And so now I'm very intentional about the messages that I put in my music, because I speak so much. I use my lyrics to carry a lot of my speaking. So in order for me to keep getting booked to speak, I got to be writing new lyrics, you know, because that's what makes my motivational speaking original, is that a lot of times I rap or do spoken word or something. So, yeah, my music just, you know, the message, I'm motivated by different stuff at different times. Yeah. My son is always a constant in my life. Mm-hmm. As far as what motivates me, he's a constant for me. You know, he is the constant in my life, the most constant and consistent person that I have energy-wise. And so to watch him evolve is what keeps me focused on making sure that I'm evolving as well.
That's good.
I like that. Yeah, I always tell Devin, Devin's my son for anyone who doesn't know, but I always tell him, like, yeah, I probably would be gone without you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially, like, you know, young man, the army, gung-ho. Like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever you want. But now, like, when Devin was born, I was like, I'm just going to be a cook. How do you feel about that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna learn to cook.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's amazing that you know, continue to draw inspiration just from the universe and from yourself and from, you know, your son, and just to be able, you know, instead of, because I love hip hop, always have since I, like, the first, like, hip hop record I had was Bone Thugs and Harmony, and, like, I loved violin, and then so to hear, like, them rapping with violin, I was like, I didn't know you could do that, and I just started this whole other trend. And then I remember, I don't know, about 10, maybe 20 years ago now, Chris Rock was saying, man, I love hip hop, but it's getting real hard to defend. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's the truth.
So, I mean, it is always good to know that there are alternatives out there. Like, we just went and seen Black Violin, but like I always say, like, every time I get to, it's like going to church when I get to hear you speak and to get to hear you talk. And so I just personally, as like a fan, and I just want to say, like, thank you for making that kind of music, you know what I mean? That I don't have to question, like, why do I like this? Why am I listening to this? Right. That was a really clever bar, though. That's hilarious. I love you. But I feel like I'm not the best person for Bob into that. So yeah, just thank you for giving me that guilt-free.
Yes. Music has evolved, man.
Yeah.
It has.
So so you went from Mama Soul and the Nuts and down to Mama Soul, kind of playing with Gene. And the last album you did was Crown, right? I didn't miss one, did I?
Portal.
Oh, the Portal. That's
Portal.
right. Yeah,
Yep.
the one that we
one
filmed
shot
for.
at the planetarium.
Yep, that one was really, really awesome. That was a fun video. Over in that's actually
That's
one of
the EP. I get 7 songs on the Portal.
Really?
It's available at my website, mamasoulmusic.com.
I'm gonna have to get that one.
Yep.
That one's on me. Usually I've just been on Spotify, so whatever they tell me to play, play.
I just can't give my music away.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
I mean, music. I don't. It's cool. Like, though I can say, okay, I don't need music to make money. It's still a process, and it's still my baby, and I still care about it. And so I really focus on those that want what I have. Mm-hmm. And then I trust that those villagers and that tribe will introduce me to someone else that they know may need this message in their life at this time. Like, everybody got somebody they care about. Yeah. And if that person is going through something, you can say, hey, man, listen to this. Maybe this will help you because it helped me, But I focus on my cult following and the people that I know my music resonates with. Yeah. Like right now I'm working on an app where you just get everything Mama Soul from that app. And you just pay for the app, and I focus on that and those people. But if you focus on the world, man, you'll lose your soul.
Mm-hmm. That's so real.
Especially nowadays when. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just everybody's so accessible, and everything is so accessible, and information is so accessible. Sometimes it's like I do feel like there's an overload. You know what I mean? You be getting mad at somebody did like 3 countries away. You're like, why am I so mad right now?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I like it. So you got the Portal. Mm-hmm. And do you still do the planetarium shows for that?
No, I did it. I did 2 shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the planetarium. They both sold out. It was good. It was good. It was original. Nobody had ever done it, so. Yeah. Did that. Now I went to Spain and recorded an album with Snarky Puppy. Yeah. And that's being mixed and mastered now. So that'll be the next big body of work I put out.
So then they're like you were with them, or were they attached to you, just backing you up?
No, Mike Lee, the music director, the bass player for Snarky, lives in Spain. Okay. So we did everything at his house. Oh, he has a real dope studio upstairs. Uh-huh. And we did everything at his house. So Sput came from California. He played on the Pimp a Butterfly, Kendrick's project. Yeah. So Sput did all the drums. Bobby Sparks did all the keys. Mike played all the bass, and then we just had different people that would come through, singers from all different countries that would just come. Mike he's something else, man. Yeah. Yeah. You'd be shocked at what Mike Lee does a lot of stuff. He does, man. Like writes symphonies and plays. He's all over the world. Yeah. And so, he has friends from all over the world that just come by when they're in. We got people singing on it. I don't even know who these people are, but we have a lot. Yeah. So I worked on that. And then me and my cousin in Columbus, AD, Adam, he goes by the Lord Luke. Mm-hmm. Me and him did an EP, so it's 9 songs. So we kind of just wrapping that up right now. I'm working on some 3-song, we're gonna do 3 sets of 3 songs. Me and my homie J.A. We're working on that. That's a When You Pray, Move Your Feet and a Live Yours collaboration. Besides that, I have records for days. Yeah. But at this point, I only do things that I'm really, really, really passionate about. When it comes to music, like I said, I don't have to make music. That's why I make good music, because I love it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I always say if I was a millionaire, I'd do all the same stuff that I'm doing for free. Yep. One day, eventually, we're like, I don't have to make money from this, and then we just get to. I tell you what, The most fun I think I had in a long time was just building this little set that you were in today. Like those things behind you, those boxes, they were on top of the ceiling at one point. That's what they were. So they were boxes for ceiling lights to control the spill of lights. So those were literally in the ceiling when we first got this place, and I was like, I'm gonna use those. And
wow, that's creative.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know where I'm gonna use them. I know how I'm gonna use them, we're building this space, and I was like, I think it's time to use those. So it was.
We built those yesterday just for you.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We did.
Oh, that's sweet.
And they were really cool. It made it. And I was proud because I put, I don't even know what it's called. What's it called? The plastic?
216 diffusion.
216 diffusion on the back of those babies for you. I did it.
That was.
I got you, girl. I got you.
But no, so it was a blessing, and it's been a blessing to create, and
Yeah.
That's what
it was great
he
to
said
have
last
you Chris
night.
in this.
Yeah. We always say before we go to bed, I always try to ask him, I said, what was your favorite part of the day? That's my question. And he said, it was really fun to create in the studio today. That's why I have the studio, so we can create stuff.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's cool. So now we're getting to a place where we can make fun sets and do cool lights for Mama's soul.
To me, it feels like when you're creating something, like that's when you're really alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I think everybody here came to create something.
Yeah.
And we had a desire to get here as a human being to do that thing, right? And then a lot of people just got here and got distracted by the other people's creations, and forgot what they came to create. Now they only here to consume, you know? And it's like when you get back to creating, whatever it is that you everybody I think has something. And when they do that one thing, they lose track of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that they should be making a living off of that.
I think
And
that's
I
your
think
next song
everybody-
lyrics right there. There was like, you had a whole thing going. I was like, oh, that sounds real nice.
You know?
Oh, she says it a lot in her performances. I mean,
Yeah.
that's I remember, you know what I mean? I think that's actually on the documentary that we did for Mott. You know, when we first started working together, it's like, you know, when you find yourself losing time, that's what you do. I think you were speaking down that concert that you had and the what's the big African American museum?
Charles H. Wright
Charles
Museum
H. Wright
in
Museum.
Detroit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. And then I remember because you played with Snarky Puppy and at the Machine Shop, right? Was that?
And I've played with Snarky a dozen times.
Yeah.
In Atlanta. I've played with Snarky quite a bit, but yeah, we did do a show at the Machine Shop.
I remember that. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was one of those cool things. I think that was one of the times when I was away. I was so bummed I missed it. But I did get to see you at the Machine Shop when you had Famadul and you had Joe. I think you had Bug, and then I think you had Dash too. There was
Joel sang.
Rydecki. He was the
That was the Snarky show.
That was the Snarky show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
it was you
Yeah.
guys came out
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
So I did see it.
Yeah,
Look at
that
that. You
was
didn't
the
miss
Snarky
nothing,
show.
babe.
Man,
Yeah, that
sometimes
was
I'd
the
be time
Snarky show.
traveling. Sometimes I'd be like, did that really happen?
did.
How
That
I
was
went
that.
there? I have the worst memory about how things go sometimes, I swear.
Just note
I've
that.
played
that is
Machine Shop
live.
more than once. You probably missed the other one.
Yeah. I'm always
'Cause we did
sad.
that before. That was before the Snarky show we played
Yeah.
there, and Johnny was with me.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I love watching you. I love the message. I love, what you've been able to create and how you've been able to persevere. I'll probably ask, a little bit about, because I think Crown is when Terry passed, right? Was that after?
Who?
Terry.
What was Terry?
Bernard?
Oh, Bernard Terry?
Yeah.
Oh, BT. Yo, man, me and the whole Portal project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
I had wrote the Portal when I lived in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
And then I got sick.
Yeah.
So when I came back to Flint in 2019, I had cancer. And so I went through a really, really intense healing at that time. I was, I'm 160 now. I was 120 pounds, 115. I was thin, intentionally because I was fasting a lot and stuff. But then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, and I was going through physical therapy and everything. And then COVID hit. When COVID hit, me and BT would be in the studio all the time because nobody else was out.
Yeah.
And so he come over, I'd be out. When they tell people stay in, I'm out.
Yeah.
But I had been in for so long, you know, and had to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Because of my immune system when I was sick. The rest of the world was just living, and I was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I have a picture of me doing an event, and I have a mask on, and I'm the only person there with a mask on. And then I had to do another event in Detroit, you know, because I started working a little bit, and I would wear a mask. And then when everybody else started wearing a mask, I took mine off.
Yeah.
Yep. And so me and BT started working on the portal. Mm-hmm. And I had the music was old to me, but he's like, nah, we got to do it. You got to put it out. You got to put it out. So me and him started working. BT's studio sessions typically go from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So he'll work from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. every day. So he told me, he said, I want you to start coming in at 11 a.m. and we'll work from 11 to 1. So when I realized it was like 11 to 1, then he goes to 1, it was 1, 1, 1, 1. Mm-hmm. So the alignment was divine. And so me and him just started working from 11 to 1. Mm-hmm. And we started tapping at these songs, man. And we finished the project, and we were mixing it at the time when he transitioned. Yeah. Yep. I had just saw him.
Yeah.
Before it happened. Yep.
And then didn't you have, like, you were having a hard time getting those mix and a lot of that work after that, right?
Yeah, I ended up getting it, you know, because it's in his studio, in his computer, and now we got to go find this music. And we have, BT was pretty organized with the stuff that he was pretty organized. So we ended up finding it. It was just about getting past just everything that was happening. Yeah. You know, his family, you ain't want to start rushing them to get your stuff. And it's like, they're grieving, you know, I'm grieving. You know, I didn't even go to BT's funeral. I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I had just went through such an intense healing and my body was weak. Mm-hmm. And so I just couldn't do it. And so, you know, me and B were very, very close. He came to me in a dream shortly after that and kind of talked to me about a lot of stuff and told me to go to Randy Seal. He was like, Randy has all your stuff. You know, Randy didn't have any of my music at the time, but I knew what he was saying. So I ended up reaching out to Randy Seal, and he kind of like my uncle now as far as like BT was like an uncle to me. Yeah. So Randy Seal is that for me now. If I really need somebody to go to or talk to or just want to go to record a session and it's a very professional environment, and I'm going to Randy. Yeah. And BT sent me to him in a dream.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome that, like, you know, he was able to kind of help usher you into that, you know, that new, you know, presence. Yep. How's the music, you know, been now? Like, you're feeling the new projects that you're working on?
Oh, I love everything I'm doing. Yeah. I think I'm writing my best music now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you think some of these things will be coming out so we can listen? A little bit here, a little there. She's not gonna let you.
You're not gonna tell us?
You know why? Because I'm not one of those people that puts dates on stuff.
Yeah.
When it's right, it's right.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna put no pressure on myself to reach somebody else's timeline. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like once I say, "Oh, this date," it's not like I'm gonna give up or I'm gonna quit. I'm not a quitter.
Right.
And so there's never gonna be a point in the process of me releasing the music that, you know, and I do have people around me like, so it's good enough. Yeah. Nothing else you could do with that record. Because sometimes I'm like overcritical, but I'm not going to quit. And so it's really about having the time, you know. I could just throw songs on for people to stream, which I am going to start just throwing a song out there every blue moon. But I don't know. You know, the projects are almost done. I got, I don't know if you all know Tomas Eduardo Scissorhands. He's putting some cuts and scratches on some of the Snarky records, and then I'll send that back to Nick Hard, who's in I think Nick might be in Spain still. Yeah. So he's doing the mixes. So once that's done, me and Snarky have plans to, you know, me do some of the tour dates with them, and you know, so I'll be back doing music pretty heavy. I miss music a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's my love, so now that my son's going to college and everything, I have more time to focus on being able to travel. A lot of times, you know, I look at opportunities and I'm like, I didn't take them because I wanted to be a mom.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you know, I think that's always nice that you know, just, all things in kind of divine order, and you had this thing that you really gave your all into for so long, and that was your number one, and then you got your 2s and 3s. So now to be able to do that, and you've got another project that you've been working on. It's called the Soul Section, right?
Oh, my cafe?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you've been doing that at Totem, right?
Totem Bookstore.
You still doing that?
Still there. Moving out on March 3rd, though.
Yeah.
We haven't really made the announcement.
Yeah.
Because our people are going to be sick. But we're just transitioning somewhere else where we don't have to ask permission.
Yeah.
Because it's like, once you know what you're capable of, it's very difficult to ask someone else permission to do that thing that God wants you to do really bad. It's like, can I be open another day? I got to wait for you to tell me if I can give people healing food and a vibration more often. Yeah. I shouldn't have to ask. So, can I do an event, a book signing, a performance? I might just want to say, Gene, come up here and let's rock for the next 45 minutes, and whoever happens to come in gets a free show. I can't do it in somebody else's space. Right. But if I have my own, I can. So right now I'm looking at some stuff. I have something on my altar, and on my mind and on my heart that I know is going to work out. I just don't want to just say too much about it too soon.
It's just going to be in Flint, right? That's all we need to know.
It's going to be in Flint. It won't be too far from Totem.
Yeah. Yep. How did that come about, the whole Soul Section?
Well, the Soul Section, really it came from me being sick, and recognizing the lack of healthy food options in Flint during my healing. Because while I was healing, Brother Saeed was making me juice all the time during my fast. I really was just drinking fresh pressed juice, and I would drink gallons of fresh pressed juice every day, and that would just flood my system and take CMOS and do all the holistic stuff. And I knew then, like the love I got from the people in Flint, it was like, man, I have to provide them with what I do. In a space for them to have the option to try it, because it's like people call me up when people get sick. And they're like, Mama, so I have a relative of somebody that has breast cancer and she staged this, and what should she do? And I'm like, what she been doing is what I need to know before I can tell you what she can do. And a lot of times she just been living life. What you mean, eating pork and beef and yada, 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 and drinking and eating snacks and, drinking soda and blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, okay, well, first you got to detox. Yeah. And now you got to reset your system, and that's going to take some time. And, it's hard. And I was like, okay, I just need a space where people can come and just try. Yeah. Try the food. Try to eat a plant-based diet maybe once or twice a week. You're going to feel the difference. Even if it's just once or twice a week turns into 10 times a month. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so you will feel the difference flat out. Yeah. And so that I was like, all right, I want to open a space here where me and my people can cook, and I had to find the right chef. I had to find people that were in alignment with this, because I knew I couldn't sit in a restaurant all day. My main thing is my speaking and stuff, right? And so, Saeed, Buff, Calvin, they came along. All the right people came, and it was almost like they came so fluidly, like it was just such ease at finding them. It was like the universe was like, here you go. As long as you do that, and your intentions are solid, here are the pieces you need in order to make this game play, and you win this game. And so we all, started coming together, round tabling, and, initially it was huge. I was trying to make like a co-op where I had like, so many people involved, and then I realized like that ain't gonna work. That's too many personalities. Yeah. And I don't deal with a lot of people personalities and stuff, not adults. Yeah. A kid I will, but grown folks, I don't have a tolerance for that. Yeah. And I'm straightforward, and I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just honest to where I don't want you to waste your time on me. You know what I'm saying? Just be real. And it just wasn't going to work. And in order for me to maintain even just a friendship or camaraderie with these people, let me just go on over here and do this on a smaller scale. And then if you want to sell your products in here or want to come in and do a workshop or whatever, that's cool. And I'll support you, But yeah, it was just a goal, and it felt like it was a divine order type thing. I knew the city needed it. Mm-hmm. We the only plant-based cafe and restaurant here.
Yeah,
you got to drive to Ann Arbor to get even close to what we are. And the fresh pressed juice and the food is fire. Like, anybody that's tried our food, they be like, damn, this is coconut? Like, yeah, that ain't bacon. You know, damn, it's not chicken. Oh, the mushrooms or whatever, you know.
Yeah. So, I want to try it. I'm super excited. We used to have this place.
Come tomorrow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, what days are what days?
Tuesdays and Saturdays. But like I said, March 3rd, you know, we only open for like 2 more weeks.
Man, we got to get in there.
What time do you run?
11 to 6.
11 to 6. Yeah, we probably jumped out that right after our shoot tomorrow. That'd be good because it was going to be. We've been talking about the Poke Bowl a lot. We haven't been there yet, and we heard it's like some really solid food. But yeah, tomorrow, Tuesday, and Ryan, who did the audio mix, and he's a vegetarian, so he would love that.
Yeah, come. Yeah, come tomorrow. I'll actually be there for a while. I have a meeting there with Tunde at 11.
Okay, cool.
So I'll be there for a few hours.
Yeah, you're working with. You got a project with Tunde, right?
Yeah, this is going to be super special.
That's cool.
Tunde is one of the most creative people.
That you were talking to me about him earlier.
Yeah.
If you don't know about Tunde, you better learn. Tunde is one of a rare talent.
Yeah, I've seen a few of his shows. I actually got to see him in Grand Rapids. But I met him through Emma Davis, who's been like dancing with him forever. You know what I mean? So, and then they were shooting a project here, and I got to help out with that, which was really cool. But yeah, so I've always kind of like, me and Tunde have always kind of like, but we haven't really like got to really work on something yet. But he's always one of the guys that
might pull you in on this. I mentioned it. I know he's gonna need people because this is with the University of Michigan.
Okay.
Flint, and I think the Flint Institute of Music.
Yeah. Yeah, he is like so creative, but he's so passionate also about like the students and making sure everybody feels like opportune. I got a good friend from Flint, Christina Tomlinson, who works a lot with like a lot of his set designs when he does stuff, and Dylan Sides kind of help him out. So I've always been like, man, I want to just let me come. I'll come hang out. I'll do something. Maybe one day we'll get him on the podcast.
Yeah, right.
Tomorrow, if you come to the soul section, you know, in the afternoon, he's in Totem a lot, just studying.
Really?
Doing his work and stuff in there, but maybe, you know, I can make the introduction.
Yeah, if the stars align, because I think we're busy till like 2 tomorrow, 2 to 3. We'll just see, because we're doing, we've got some people from, I think Josh isn't here to back me up. He knows all about this, but this got this guy, LeVar Scott, and then Julius Curry, this guy called the Dunk Master. So all kind of like motorsports and motocross entertainment, but they're trying to bridge the gap, like saying like, hey, there's more than just, you know, entertainment, you know, there's engineering, there's clothing design, there's, you know, all these other things that go into like motorsports, kind of how we're trying to like, you know, it's not just about owning a camera in our industry. It's about, you know, you can, if you like lawn mowing, you can be a lawnmower for, you know, like a greensman for a set. You know what I mean? That's what I always liked about film, is that it encompasses the entire, you know, human experience. So speaking of the human experience, I think, how are you able just to be so yourself? Like you said it's always kind of been like that for you. Like, yeah, just. See,
I mean, like to the point, and I'm not saying that. You know how some people are like, I don't care what nobody thinks. Yeah. No, that's not what I mean by saying I'm able to be me. Yeah. Because sometimes you feel such like an outcast that you socially awkward. Yeah. You know, like there's times where I feel like I don't fit into this place, or I shouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm not saying I can't have fun, but it's like I'm so in my head that my body is, my central nervous system not comfortable here, you know? So, I mean, I don't know what your question was, but you said how I'm out.
Just how like,
you know what, man?
Do you have things you tell yourself, or?
Nah, I've lived and I've experienced so much shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, once you experience so much hardship and pain and hurt and loss and, you know, the lessons, man, you know, and I tell students all the time, like in school, you get all these lessons, then you get to take a test. In life, you get the test, then you get all the lessons, you know, and so I've just been tested so much, and I've had so many spiritual encounters that I knew was like, oh, this ain't nothing but God or the ancestors or whatever. You know, I've had some real spiritual things happen to me where people just come up to me like, you, and just start telling me about myself. And I'm like, damn, you are so on point, you know, and I could be in Kenya. It happened one time in Kenya. I was in Africa. You know what I'm saying? And this woman barely spoke English and was telling me all about myself and why I was in Kenya. And she just did a full reading on me right there. Happened again in Atlanta. I saw a little store and I'm like reading the door and I was like, what's it say? He was like, it say incense, candles, something. I said, what's the bottom say? He said, spiritual supplies. I said, I wonder what they mean by that. Went in the store one day. The lady went from being normal to speaking in like tongues and telling me so much and was telling me the ancestors are present and they've been waiting on you and blah, blah. I've had some very spiritual encounters. Been happening since I was little. I've been seeing energy and auras and would have these hallucinations. I felt like buildings was falling in on me and I panicked. Little kid, you know, and so I just always knew I was a little bit different, you know. And so just growing up and playing sports, and I was real athletic. I was a tomboy, you know, but I don't like girls. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so but I've always been okay with being me. I don't feel like I need to put on lashes or weave or wear heels all the time or a little bitty skirt to feel like a pure woman and a solid woman walking as a black woman in this days and time where social media is, you know, and just all the stuff, you know? And so I knew I'm just going to have to be very comfortable with doing me. And the more I did me, the more I reached goals. The more I did me, the happier I became. The more I did me, the people that were not good for me started getting the hell away from me. The more I did me, the right people started showing up. And so once you've been through so much, it's like, man, I just want to be happy. And I want to be at peace, and I want ease in my life. I'm tired of, I don't grind, I ground. You know, I changed the words I used, and it started allowing the right things in. And so I started trusting that because that was showing me, it was just showing me everything that I've been seeking. And so I was like, you know what, I have to trust this because this is working. Yeah. And it works. Meditating, not praying. The certain things started working for me. You know, I don't want to go to a church. I don't want to go to this, but I know there's a church within me. So put an altar in your house where you could go every day whenever you need to go. You don't have to wait for somebody else's doors to open for you to get to God. And so I started making sure that my temple was right, you know, and eating healthier and just being healthier and just doing different things, man, and it made me happier. You know, I'm not happy all the time. I'm not, you know, but I'm not at peace all the time, but I am more often than most people that's not acting like, not being themselves, you know. Yeah. And everybody is an individual. One of my favorite places in the world to be is the airport, especially the international airport, because you see people from so many different walks of life speaking so many different languages. You realize that you are just, you better focus on you because ain't nobody else focusing on you for real. Not in the grand scheme of things. Now, maybe in your neighborhood or somebody on your street or somebody on social media that's hating or, you know, yeah, but they don't matter. You know, what the world's energy offers you is what matters. Can you go? Michael Jackson went to other countries where nobody knew what he was saying and fainted. People would faint. That's energy. And that's him being him. You know, he couldn't have did that if he was trying to sound like Marvin Gaye. Yeah. Or he was trying to sound like Prince. He had to be Michael Jackson. And I started seeing the lights come on in people. You know, we watched it. You know, I'll perform and I've seen people change in front of me just from me being me. And so I don't know how to be anybody else anymore. And I don't want to go nowhere where I can't be me. So I ain't going if I can't be me.
And that's that.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I'm asked, like, I love that you know that you've always been that, but how is it that you help guide people to be themselves, or if they're struggling with being themselves, what is something that you would want to tell them if you could?
Man, that's not a tough question. It's just layered.
Yeah.
Right? Because self-love is something I preach, especially to kids, right? You got to fall in love with yourself first. And when you stare in the mirror until your soul stares back, if you practice that, staring in the mirror until your soul stares back, really see the kid that healed from so much and the teenager, and see, falling in love with you is one of the most important things you can do. And to not love yourself, you're cheating God. It's like you cheating the spiritual world, because you're divinely guided and sent. You here for a reason. You matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody matters. We are made up of matter. We matter. And so you just know that your life matters. And the more you pay attention to you, and like really, really, really paying attention to you and blocking out the noise. You have to block out the noise. Like, a lot of it is just noise. That's why I said you either make music or noise. Silence can't be enhanced by sounds that pull your energy down. And so when you decide to start spending that quiet time with yourself, when you by yourself, do you feel lonely, or do you love yourself to the point that you feel like you are your homie? Spend that quiet time by yourself. Fall in love with you. There's only one version of you. To comparing to yourself to somebody else, why? Why? Your only job is to create you. That's your only job. I tell my son that all the time. Your job is to create you. The spouse that you choose is you creating you. You only deal with a person because of how they make you feel. You know what I'm saying? When they stop making you feel a certain way, you tell them they can kick rocks. You only eat certain foods because of how it makes you feel. You only go certain places because of how it makes you feel. You dress how you do because of how it makes you. All of this is you creating you. The career path you choose is you creating you. The food you eat is you creating you. Where you live is you creating you. How you wear your hair is you creating you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So your only job is to create you. And why not create the best version of yourself? Because there's only one. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So now if you're comparing yourself to somebody else, it's cool to be inspired by other people. But I use a flame a lot of times when I talk to kids, right? Because we all had this light within us. And when you have a candle and it's lit, the flame doesn't have a shadow. So we turned all the lights out here and we lit a candle. The flame's not going to have a shadow. So that light, I may be the light that lights your wick. My flame don't go out because I lit yours. Yours won't go out if you light hers. But you can't be me. I don't have a shadow. This flame don't have a shadow. But I might be who sparked your flame. And you say, okay, dang, Mama, so that was inspiring. Now let me go off and be me and set other people on fire. And then we all shine, right? In our own right. But everybody has a light made up of infinite spiritual power. It's important at some point you try to tap into that, And so that's what it is for me. I just tell people, man, like, you are here divinely sent, divinely guided, and you got a light within you that shines. You got to tap into it. It's only one version of you. Your only job is to create the best version of you that you can. And trust me, once you start focusing on you, you will find your tribe.
Yeah.
The right people will show up. Don't be no people pleaser.
Yeah.
You letting the world pimp you at that point. Pimping is nothing but the power of persuasion. How do you persuade me? You got to impress me. Don't be easily impressed. You will never be pimped. I'm
Man,
way
she makes
more
you chew on
impressed.
that for a second.
I'm more impressed by a person being themselves and not doing a great job at life, but I get it. You know what I'm saying? But you doing your best as you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm rocking with you.
I always, whenever I get in trouble, like, why are you that way? I'm like, I wish I could be somebody else, but I'm not. This is just me. But I'm learning. My always thing with that is like, there's a philosopher. It was a class that I took, and they said, I have learned to say something exactly the way that I want to say it without hurting someone's feelings. And that means like you've taken who you are and you've defined it into a way that you can reach other people without offending them, without compromising yourself. And I feel like that's always kind of the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you own what comes out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't own how other people receive what comes out of you, though. You don't own how they receive it.
Yeah.
You know, because me being the forward person that I am, I've said things to people, and my intention was never to hurt you. You took it wrong. That's how you took it because you dealing with some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's something you're dealing with. I don't own that. And I know you can't unscramble an egg. So before I speak, I think, you know, and I think amongst adults, apologies are overused and overaccepted. I ain't big on apologizing. Now, if I misread something, I'd be like, that's my bad. I misread that. But this still me working on me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm still being honest with me. But most of the time, I don't find myself apologizing to people because I really thought about it and processed what I was saying because I knew this could go left. Now, if you took it the wrong way, now you got to sit with that. And why did you take it like that? You know, because even if somebody says something to me and it hurts me, I'm like, well, why did I receive it in that manner? I'm more focused on me, not with the person who said it, you know? And that's just me working on me and loving me to where I receive a certain way, you know? Because it came to you for a reason. You attracted it, you know? But you only own what comes out of you. You don't own how a person takes what you say. But if your intention is solid, it's different than you know when you intentionally like I'm say this and I'm saying it to hurt you.
Right.
You know that. You know when you've said something to somebody like I'm yeah, okay. You know, whatever you want to call them. You know you intended to hurt that person with those words. But when your intentions like I'm nowhere near that I want to hurt you. I just had to say the thing that nobody's saying to you. Because if you keep doing that and nobody says nothing, you're going to crash and burn.
That sounds like some of mine and Cory's conversations lately. I'm softy, so I do sometimes take personally the things that he says. So that's something I'm working on, but he'll call me out on it. And that sucker hurts. I hate when he calls me out on it.
I'm very blunt, and I'm working on that.
He's very blunt, and I'm not. And so it's been interesting to... But I know, like what you're saying, that it doesn't come from a place of, you know, like when you really think about it, it doesn't come from that. It's just how he expressed it. So it's me learning, like, why am I receiving it like that? And so we've had to have those tough conversations lately.
Yeah.
But it's real. So I don't know. Thanks for holding me accountable and being real with me.
Yeah, because, you know, like we always say in a relationship, communication is key. I think communication is important, but the key is comprehension.
That's real, too.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you
have to communicate, but if the person is not comprehending
what you're saying, like, you can, it's like speaking
to a dead wall.
And
you're not really comprehending what they're saying, you end up arguing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I definitely need to work on is because, like, I comprehended what I was saying, but sometimes my mind moves a little too fast, probably even for me. So it's taking that time, being intentional, slowing down.
Adderall. No, I'm just joking. Man. Some people need the pills and stuff, though, to slow down. I got buddies like that. And it's like, man, did you take your medicine?
I will say, I've done Adderall here and there, and I will say, like, it feels like, oh, my physiology has caught up to my brain finally. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I just couldn't do that I don't like it. Just don't feel it like after a while, it just feels like I'm done, like burned out, and then I get depression and I'll get low, and then like, you know what I mean? Like it just burns me out, and then I have to like.
I'm
so
not
I don't
promoting
to,
drug use.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
But you know what? Here's the thing: those things help. There's some people that it's like Adderall is the thing for them. You know what I mean? And that's what they do, and they take the prescription, and it makes them functional. There's. You know, some people can, that's what helps me is like, I think the most out of anything that I've found is the exercise. To me, that's like the only thing, because that's like the time where I get to be with myself and I get to focus solely on me. And, you know, instead of worrying about all these problems, I'm okay, all right, this muscle moves right here and you squeeze it. You know what I mean? But I have some of my best ideas when we were doing that, or, you know, we were watching Black Violin, and that's what got inspired to kind of build a set like this, you know, watching art.
Yeah, that is kind of what, because the lights when the drummer was playing. It was like,
And
That was a good show, man.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
That's your first time seeing him?
It was, and I've been wanting to see him for a while.
So
yeah, I've seen him a few times.
My first time I got to see him, I was doing these things. Google had their like kind of talks, and so they would invite artists to come and play. So I actually got to see them at a Google Talk event and like film them for the first time. And it's funny, I was so trying to capture the right thing, and I didn't have any risers to get the cameras up. They do a section where they're like, okay, everybody stand up. And I just remember going, no. And then he called me out in the video. He goes, yeah, I knew the camera guy wasn't going to like that. But so when he was at the show in Flint, when he was doing that, I was like, yeah, sometimes you just got to let things be. I you know, that's I guess the Virgo in me, the very controlling in all aspects. But sometimes the best stuff you create when you're just like, nah, just shoot it. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
So.
That's good.
I like that.
I love it.
I think, you know, we'll just ask a few questions about
do you have
Flint.
any more questions or?
Yeah, I mean, not really like designed. I mean, what about Flint makes your work so needed? Because I feel like we're all here for a reason. We're all planted in Flint for a reason. Yeah. We could have left, been anywhere, but like this place, just I'm locked in. You know what I mean? At least for the next 9 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I've traveled, man.
Yeah.
You know, I've lived in New York City. I've lived in Atlanta. I've lived in Detroit. I've lived in Columbus, Ohio. I was in Africa for months, you know, and it's just Flint. I'm gonna tell you what happened for me is I went to New York doing the work with FUBU, cancer, came back home, boom. Working in Flint, built this brand up, moved to Atlanta, cancer, go back home. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm like, hold on. Every time I move and go pursue my dream and my somewhere else, instead of just blooming where I was planted, something happens to my health. Maybe I need to stay here where the love is palpable. You know what I'm saying? And it was like when I came back in 2019 and I went through that healing, and these people started GoFundMes and started having paint parties and walks and fundraisers and all this stuff for me. I ain't asked for none of this. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, hold on, these people love me. You know what I'm saying? And I would see people, my mom would see people, and they'd be like, tell us all we praying for. And churches were had telling my mother to come, and they get a collection plate to my mom to get me and my son. It was just like, it was overwhelming. And then when my surgeries were happening, we put it, like my friends would put it out there, like Soul Goes In will start being prepped for surgery around 7 a.m. this day, start praying at this time. And you know, I didn't even know they were organizing in prayer groups like that, but I could feel it. And so Flint, for me, I think in order for me to even please my ancestors and to please my God, I feel I owe a certain part of me to Flint, that I need to be tangible to a community. And Flint is the community that needs me. you know, because I am Flint. I was raised here. I am who I am because of my upbringing here. Right. So you need to know that everything you admire about me, you could do it too, you know, and who better to do it for than the kids here? Like, it drives me nuts that I get contracts with Ypsilanti School District and districts in other cities and not Flint. I'm like, why can't I get a contract with them? I need a residency here, you know? Yeah. But I just know that these kids, you know, I was a Flint kid and it's different now and it's social media and you really need people. Now, these kids need people that's not just AI or robots or just bots, you know, just trying to appease these computers.
The algorithm.
Yeah, man, I don't care nothing about that. Yeah. You know, I just throw stuff out. People are like, you need to post more. I'm like, I don't have time to be posting all the time, man. Now, if you want to do it for me, cool. But I still need to proofread it and all that. And that's going to take time because it got to match my brand, you know. So it's divine order, man. Like, you don't even need this to make money.
Yeah.
But now that you have it, if you use it properly and you falling in love with yourself, then you can see this for what it really is. Them kids just haven't been able to see what it really is. Yeah. And so unless you can help them identify who they are and how to use this as a tool, you don't need to be around no kids unless you really want to help them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, teaching and dealing with kids is not something you just do for a check. Not to me.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, and so Flint for me is like, it's a classroom.
Yeah.
You know, it's somewhat of a classroom, and I've been able to teach.
That's powerful. I like that.
Is there anything that we didn't ask that you might want to talk about? Cool. So, she's like, I said a lot.
I said enough.
She said I did a lot. Okay, so every time we have a podcast guest on, we have the last guest leave a question. And then once you answer this question, I'm going to give you 3 options so you can leave the next guest a question. So this one came from Xavier Simon. I don't know if you know him, but he is from Flint side. And he's
not beat.
So he said, leave one truth, lesson, or reminder that's important to you.
When you pray, move your feet.
When you pray, move your feet.
That's my moniker. That's what's attached to my brand all day, every day. No, you got to be a prayer in motion.
Yeah.
You have to be a prayer in motion. If not, you begging.
That's,
you know what I'm saying?
So honest.
You know, you could beg or you could hustle. Either way, it's still a struggle. Hunger Games in the jungle. It's a real Game of Thrones out here. It wasn't no crown in the bag full of hand-me-downs. You got to earn that on your own. You know what I'm saying? So you got to get out here and get active. You know, the universe going to meet you halfway. But you got to get busy doing what you claim you want. And you can't sit around and beg for stuff from a scarcity standpoint mindset. You know what I'm saying? A poverty mindset. Yo, I'm broke. Okay, you're going to keep being broke. But you got to get up and get to what it is you really want. Now, when you sit still at the end of the day, be proud of yourself for getting up and moving. You know what I'm saying? You can't, don't beg for it, work for it. Then give thanks to the Most High for endurance. You know? So,
that's good.
When you pray, move your feet. Get out here and be a prayer in motion, because when somebody see you do it, you might be an answer prayer to somebody else.
So true.
But if you just sitting at home like, oh, God, please, good luck with that. Man. You got to get out here and get aligned with what it is you need.
That's so good.
So,
I love that.
All right, and here's the 3 questions you get to pick for the next guest.
One of 3, yeah.
Yeah, one of three. Just pick one of 3. So the first one is, what's one question you would like to ask the next guest? Something you would say to someone that's meaningful, or leave one truth, lesson, or reminder that's been important to you.
Something you would say to someone that's meaningful.
Perfect. All right, so you get to write that down on this here notebook and sign it.
Okay.
As part of our 4th guest, first entertainer on the Flint Film Foundation.
And then I do have one that I always ask, and that I always forget to ask too. If you had one wish for Flint, what would that be?
One wish for Flint?
Yeah.
Prosperity. I want the people here to understand what it feels like to have the freedom to just live. You know what I'm saying? And not be in a survival mode. A lot of people here just trying to survive. And when you're trying to survive, your moral compass ain't necessarily moving you in the right direction sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And so, I wish more jobs would be here so that these people had the opportunity to just prosper a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I do. That's why I want to keep opening businesses here in Flint and provide people with the mindset to even get up and go own something or be a worker for somebody that owns something, because everybody is not meant to be an owner.
So true.
Either, everybody is not the boss. Some people are really, really good under bosses and really, really good servants that help move things forward. Some people are really good at that. That's their job. I'm here to serve. That don't make you weak.
Right.
To know that I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve. I know people, and then you got rewarded for that. But I pray, and I'm an example that you can be wealthy, and still be in Flint, Yeah. So I want these people to get the freedoms that I have. Yeah. I really do, because I understand kids that's just trying to survive. I got a song for them called Love 'Em,
And where can they find that again? Give them one more time.
What?
Where they can find all your songs, or where can people listen to you at?
Well, what's crazy is my YouTube channel. I had one, and then I got sick, and my son started using it, forgot the password.
Oh, yeah.
Once I got well, I got a new phone, and it's like now they want to send a code to the old phone, and so they won't give me access to my YouTube channel. So I had to start a new one. So now it's like hard to get the people to go to the new one, because when you type it in, the old stuff pops up. And so I'm just trying to figure that part out. But my website is really the easiest access to me at all times, and that's mamasoulmusic.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Soul, thank you so much for not only being our first musical guest, but just being an amazing guest in general. She's got a good one for someone.
That is something you would say to someone that's meaningful, right?
Yep, that's it.
All right.
Thanks again, Soul.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Thanks.